IGN Lionsgate has announced that Training Day director Antoine Fuqua will helm the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic, Michael, and that it will be produced by Academy Award-winning producer Graham King of Bohemian Rhapsody fame. Michael is set to begin principal photography later this year, and John Branca and John McClain, the co-executors of Michael Jackson's estate, will be producing the film alongside King. Tab, we all know that Michael Jackson has a complicated story surrounded by controversy. How does Lionsgate do this, in your opinion? What era of his life do you focus on?
So I think this is an excellent question, and you're talking to the person who has an unpopular opinion about Michael Jackson. So I respect what he has provided musically for our history of music. Like, I get the genius of what he has provided. I also understand his trauma of his childhood. But there are some allegations, granted they have not necessarily been proven, so I will leave them at allegations, but there are a lot of them, so it makes it a little hard to ignore. So I have a hard time enjoying his music presently. I can respect what he's provided, but I don't necessarily enjoy it. When it comes to his movie, I would think that for someone like me would be interested in his whys. So the childhood, what's caused this traumatic response that he has and development that he has had? What led him to be the Michael Jackson that he was as an adult? I don't know if I would want the movie to dive into the essay allegations of everything with, you know, the minors and such, or the children aspect of rumors. I think I would be more interested in maybe understanding the whys of the complication that came later for the biopic, for what I think would do well as a movie. Because if they start bringing in the essays and the issues with the children, I think it's going to become a lot of there's going to create a lot of conflict about, because it's hearsay. Nothing's been proven. There's been, you know, he obviously can't be brought to trial for anything. He's no longer here, so that's not something that can happen. I just think that it's going to create a lot of defensiveness for his estate and his image if we try to bring that into the movie, versus if we just focus on the whys of everything, what he had to go through as a child, what he went through as a teenager, what he went through in the youth of his day, and where his mental capacity was through all of that.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better myself. I thought, and I remember when I was when this news came out today and I was putting this together, I was like, am I going to have to make an announcement and be like, we're only going to focus, but you said everything I was about to say right off the top. He's like, the allegations were there. Now, I thought about this from a person who grew up, you know, loving the Jackson 5s and idolizing Michael Jackson for his music and everything. But I see it the way Dave Chappelle's talked about it. When he joked about it, like the way you have the hardcore Michael Jackson fans, especially in the black community, who didn't want to believe any of it, of the negative stuff, because of the history that they knew Michael had, and the history and the things that he gave through his music. It's just how beloved he was worldwide. It's like Dave Chappelle was like, I can't believe any of those allegations. The man made Thriller. That was the excuse. Like, that was Thriller. But then he was, and this is something that we all 100% agree on. No matter whether or not it's still allegations, he's obviously he was probably a victim of some kind of trauma when he was a child as well. You wanted to recapture your childhood. We understand it, but you're still a grown man. So the question, when he made that joke about, oh, okay, so you don't believe those things, but would you let him watch your children? Ew, no. Now, like that was the response. Yeah. No, I can't believe that he did those. No, I would not trust him to watch my children. It was like,
absolutely,
because you can't risk it. So that was always the ongoing agreement between the community and Michael Jackson. I will support you, but you are going to stay over there, and no, don't come over here, kind of a thing. You're like at arm's length. So and I can disassociate it though, because just like Cosby, I'm not a fan of him now. I used to love him, but when he was actually charged and convicted of I can say in my heart, I can say, I mean, Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable didn't do all those things, but Bill Cosby can rot in prison for I don't give a shit.
See,
Like,
I
stuff
have
like
a hard
that.
time disassociating with that. When convicted and proven that these things happen, I have a real hard time supporting them in any aspect of their life because
I got an answer to that, but go
because
ahead.
as someone who experienced SA and has gone through that, it for me creates a real harsh boundary that I have to create for my own mental wellness and my own ability to be able to accept someone into our society. And I can't do that for someone like I give people. I'm a believer of innocent until proven guilty, wholeheartedly.
But
So
he
that-
was found guilty.
He
so that's-
was
No,
found guilty.
Guilt,
and
I mean,
so,
Bill Cosby. I mean,
yeah,
No,
Bill Cosby,
yeah.
not Michael Jackson. So, like, I cannot disassociate from Bill Cosby, but that's why I have that sort of wall with the Michael Jackson where I can say, you know what, I can support what he's done for society and what he's done for music, but I am on edge about the allegations. So that's why I have the opinion of where I think the movie should be
Right.
in that way, because I can't be vulnerable to the possibility of all those allegations being
Right.
true.
What about you, Deb? Where you land on it?
I'm on this. Well, I love his music. Michael Jackson. I can put that on and jam to that anytime.
Yeah.
I'm on the camp of we've done. I know that he hasn't been on the big screen, but how many times do we need to make a Michael Jackson story?
I mean, there's never been a
I know he's
feature
not
length.
been on the
It's
big
been-
screen, but we've had so many TV shows, and what else do we need? We know he's fabulous. His music. What else do we need to?
I mean,
do with
technically,
that?
there is no movie in the world that needs quote unquote to be made. It's just entertainment. It does. You don't need it to.
I know. I'm
you don't
just
need
like though. It's
to put
we've
air like air and
had so
water.
many. So what
But
exactly are we going to? What are we going with it?
But he made a statement. Are biopics entertainment or are they informational?
I mean, well, look, the Weird Al the Yankovic movie. That was
Okay,
very
first of all,
entertaining.
Weird Al is
you-
Weird Al. But if we're
you
to-
thought it
but-
was in I didn't think it.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just talking about how successful it was as far as what it did. It was still a biopic. But my statement was about how movies in general, any movie, not just biopics, they don't technically need to be made. This is all for money and profit. That's the only reason why any movie gets
absolutely.
Oh, no.
greenlit.
But I think a backstory or a biopic, if you're going to fall under the biopic, that is about
make money.
learning. Well, it's also about learning the behind the scenes aspect of a human being that
Yeah.
you might not necessarily know all the story to. That's the
Right.
purpose of a biopic. Someone who has been in the limelight, who you've seen a facade of, but there's also another story behind that. So that's
There's
the
going
point
there's
of
going to be
that.
an agenda based no matter what. It all depends on where the writer decide, like you said earlier, where the writer decides to focus on. That's why that
Correct.
question was so important.
Yes.
What era? Because there's like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10
Yes.
eras in this man's life that was only like within a 50 some odd year period that you can make a whole movie out of. It's so
Absolutely.
hard. To really
we just
do.
don't really know where. I mean, are we going the Elvis route to see the demise? Are we going just his genius and just seeing how he came up with music?
There was a
What are we
Bill. What was his
focusing
name? Not
on?
Bill Gates. Well, there was a one of the many Steve Jobs movies that came out at the same time. The one that Michael Fassbender did. They only focused on like one. I think it was. I didn't watch the movie, but I think it was focused on a couple of days. It was the whole movie was set on like when he was about to make the announcement. And correct me in the chats if I'm wrong. When he was about to announce the iPhone for the first time, and I think it was only focused. But then I saw Steve
It's
Jobs
like if
movies
you
that
just want to do something a little more different, where it's just more where he came up with music, not.
Well,
so-
getting his butt whooped by his daddy and forcing him into the
I
game
mean, like
is where he
in the
came up with
studio,
music.
like where are we coming up with like
What his muses were, what his inspiration was, what
putting
his,
things together,
Yeah.
that stuff,
How he
not-
developed
not
it.
really
Yeah.
where I started.
I will
where
say-
personal. like,
the era
those-
between him and Motown when he went solo, that's a story right there.
See, so I think though if they take that route, I would be in the position Chris was in about Elvis. Because to me that would feel lackluster of the history of Michael Jackson. I feel like it would be the cop out of the story. Like they're not wanting to take the risk
Right.
of what his livelihood
Because no matter what you do, if you only tell the good side of
Yeah.
his story, you're gonna have 50% of the world that's gonna be like, well, what about all the bad stuff he did? And if you only focus on the bad stuff, then you're gonna insult the people who loved his music and what he contributed to the world, and be like, well, you only, this was a hit piece and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're gonna get it from both sides. So you might as well do sort of what Elvis did and
Address some of it.
Go and address all of it if you can.
I just think addressing the allegations will create it's going to create conflict within our society with regards to supporting versus not supporting him.
Yeah.
And I think that it's going to create a real divide between people who either like him wholeheartedly through everything and support him through everything versus people who are really struggling wanting to like him because they grew up with him and enjoyed his music versus the person he became. Because who he became was not
how he started.
Not how he started.
Yeah.
He grew into something. Even if you throw out the allegations, he grew into something that wasn't great. He had a lot of mental illness. He had a lot of drug issues. He had a lot of things going on within just his personal self that weren't beneficial to his health, obviously.
Right.
So I think that if they focus on maybe what caused, like we all kind of really know his end game. So if they focused on what caused the beginning of everything, the whys, and sort of his growth into his music, I think would be better beneficial for society's view of enjoying the movie and it not being so controversial.
Well, the director that they picked, Antoine Fuqua. I mean, if he's known for crushing it, and the Jackson machine, I'm gonna just call it that, the family. I would not be surprised if they have just as much control, because this is the same writer, I believe, that did Bohemian Rhapsody. What's his name? The guy, I think that's who they said.
It's the same director, I thought, of
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
And when they originally was doing the Bohemian Rhapsody movie, they wanted Borat. We talked about this on the show before.
Yeah.
They wanted him.
Yeah.
He was originally cast to play Freddie Mercury. But the band was like, no. They went for another. Even though I keep calling him Borat, I know it's Marshall Cole was. He has a musical background. He has the background, and he looked like Freddie Mercury. And so the fans were kind of against it, but then at the end it worked out. But that's rare when you have interference like that. You usually let the director do their thing. I don't see the Jacksons being that subtle. The Jacksons really trying to control this.
They have a lot to say when it comes to
Michael
anything about that.
Because because Michael was the biggest moneymaker of the family, and they're going to protect the money. They're going to protect the money. So they're not going to allow what they're going to look at as in their heart is a hit piece. The allegations, it wasn't true. They're going to say all that. They're going to be totally defensive, which now I'm going to use your line. For me, is going to make it a worse move, because we all saw what happened.
Yep.
We saw them going to court. And if they ignore that, I'm going to be pissed off with that
they
too.
try to lie about it, it's going to do nothing but make them look bad.
We aren't worse.
We aren't a society of stupid
Yeah.
people. Like
Yeah,
we
know
there. We lived
wrestling
it.
isn't real anymore. We've gone past the whole pretending like wrestling is real. I know we spend more time on that one than we show each other, but guys, let us know what you guys think about the whole idea of the Michael Jackson movie is being greenlit. It's coming. We're going to go into the website, but we don't have time for that. Let's quickly go into the next topic, babe. What do we have coming up next?
Remember to like this video, become a subscriber, and share. This really does help us out. And click here or here. Thanks for watching.